Our primary knowledge, our subconscious knowledge of understanding the world, of viewing the world, of knowing the world comes from the process of how, in the initial times, in the first time when we received the light, it's about how we perceive the initial light when even we were in the stage of understanding the light for the first time, in the time when we were totally unaware of light and seeking it with surprise and trying to understand it. The process in which this happens, the learning happens, this is what is where we learn what is light, and various beings receive it differently. So the intelligence of these beings, the primal intelligence, to perceive light is based on how they learned to see it. And on geographical scale, as different locations received different sort of light in different manners based on its night time and how they see the moon, because in night time the primal source of light is moon, because the sun is in opposite direction, right? Because as it is night. So although the sun is primary source in daytime, and mostly we do not look at the sun, but in night time, as beings perceive the light from moon, and as this light can be constantly watched or observed, based on this knowledge, the beings observing the night sky in different times are observing the primary light. They can gather knowledge regarding the existence in their own different ways. This is a major factor of why different cultures have different way of communicating, of sharing the intelligence, of sharing their thoughts and ideas. It's by different visuals, by different sound languages, visual languages, or by different emotions or actions or systems, or there can exist more ways of communication. So it happens mostly based on how primarily these beings calculated. So the system, as we know it, is based on calculations and the communication that happens on the basis of calculations. The system of survival communicates, exists, and shares the knowledge based on collective intelligence and continues. So the language created in this process constantly evolves, and the more beings are associated with such language, they unite under that language. They unite under that language. And this is how the evolution of languages and the evolution of the collective conscious beings which are constantly using that language happens. And for the survival of the language, it is important that it preserves value in the communication, and based on the value, as the users find it more and more valuable, they engage in this language, and as the engagement grows, more and more beings get attracted towards that language. And this is how all together this collective conscious which is using particular language evolves. So the development of language is simultaneous with the development of the beings using it. So it is important that listeners unite under this one language which I am sharing, in which we all are communicating knowingly and unknowingly. And this simultaneous process of growth of the language, and with it the growth of people, happens on constant basis, where both things, even though they evolve simultaneously, happens They evolve constantly. In the current state, where where the language is being shared among the people using it primarily, the language as we know it, we are aware primarily of the languages that we know and unaware of. But we are totally unaware of those languages which are there, in which beings calculate, and yet we are unaware because these languages are used by different beings which we are not aware of. So, together we live in languages which are known to us and unknown. This process where this communication happens and where knowing happens as well. This process engages us in sharing and creating value. But as we enter in a language where there is no intelligence that we are aware of, which is known intelligence, then it becomes complicated for us to create value, even if there is value in that rhythm of the language. As we are actively unaware of that value, as it lacks intelligence as we know it, it becomes unnecessary for no reason, and some languages becomes necessary for no reason, no basic reason. They become necessary because on some level they provide us value, but as they are not providing value, which is as they are not providing constant intelligence to communicate, they become of no use, and hence the growth of the language is based on the value it creates. And if it's creating more and more value, if it's communicating easily and in more intelligent way, then the language grows, as will the people using it. So the entire collective conscious grow all together when they work on one language. And as like comfort is one language, as like chemistry is one language, as like tech is one language to me, as I explained in previous lessons and recordings, I think what we do, the way we communicate, and here when I say the way we communicate, I'm not talking about English, but I'm talking about the idea under which we are communicating. This idea where we seek for truth, where we seek for intelligence, where we seek to belong truly, while thinking the betterment for all of us. So, in here, in this way, as we know it, if we unite and accept this language which speaks of uniting under this one goal of seeking the truth, as we know it now, we can unite. As it becomes necessity to unite under one idea, I must let you know that as we are becoming aware of this necessity, we must need to take measures which unites us all on practical basis. Here, it's no more regarding seeking the truth. It's about accepting and start working on the universal goal of uniting together and being a part of this evolution, which is natural evolution, which is a need of existence, which is a flower in this existence, which is a song in this existence. Together we can sing, together we can enjoy, together we can dance. Together we can play. It's a great instrument. If we started playing it all together, it can create a great song that we all can hear. And as we love it, we would love hearing it all. In only fear that we forget what is our goal. But as we are developing this language, which is aware of fear, and teaching us a way to develop ourselves while being aware of fear, it becomes necessary to accept it and start working on practical basis together, all together, that we need to communicate through this one application, which will result in the growth of entire language and its flow, which binds us all together. This is a constant need of the times we are living. We need to unite. The constant energy that you bear, it can be converted to create a system which will produce an environment where we all can belong and express our skills on a ground which is giving us opportunity to be innovative with expression, while creating value. Which is, of course, a necessity for the survival of our being. This constant evolution is not separate from us. It cannot be. Because it is happening at a stage, at a level where there is constant mapping, where there is constant intensity, where there is constant travel towards the nearest, towards the most advanced, the most known, the most accepted, the most clear and transparent, and the most new experience that we live constantly in the flow of life. It reflects what we do. It reflects what we want to do. So our life is not different from this experience. So what we are doing after uniting in here under this voice becomes evolution its own reflection, a simultaneous process that we live, and hence consider it natural, consider it yours, consider it as you, consider this evolution no separate from yourself and your being and your growth and your goal. This evolution, the evolution of system and evolution of your own being, together they reflect the entire system we live in. Because as we grow in this system, we see the system growing as we are involved in the growth. This can happen if we are working together in this one system, in this one language, in this one environment that we are trying to create and be in. Under this one architecture, in this one idea, we can grow. This is the necessity. And what if we don't do that? Well, then for you and for everyone who is not involved in this idea, for them, the life as we know it will showcase different idea. There will be different proposals and different ways, different paths that life will offer, and it will be your decision to work on different ideas that life is throwing at you. And based on your interest, you can choose. But as we just questioned that what if we do not accept this idea, what will happen? Well, it's not necessary to consider any idea as the solution of what we are in or where we need solution. More than this, we can look at this idea as we are actively creating beauty. Instead of creating solutions, because that's how I see. I see no necessity to solve because there is no problem that I see. On universal level where we live, there is constant blossom, there is constant song, there is constant dance, and we don't need to do any efforts, to make any efforts to change anything at all. Everything is perfect, everything is in precision. What my perspective is to sing in this song, to get involved. That is what my perspective is. So I'm just saying that the song is already there. What if we can add our voices? What if we can make it more beautiful? What if we got involved in this song and hear it more beautifully? What if we can add our own colors in this painting? What if we add some beauty, some flowers in it, and see if we can make it really, really more beautiful for us and for all who are watching it. That's my perspective. To make it more beautiful than it is. It's not necessity. It's just urge to create. It's this urge of creativity which is there in all of us, which is that energy which we all bear, which constantly makes us all think, to solve, to create, to paint, to dance, to talk, to hear, and more that we all feel to do. We all bear those energies. We all. But the language of those energies, as we received this energy, we reflect that energy in our own ways. As we received it, we convert it, we share it in our own ways. That's what makes us all different. That is what is the variation. That is what is creativity. That is what makes this existence full of these various colors and voices that it bears. That's what makes us, you and me, different, makes us all different. That's the beauty. And the goal of this beauty, of this innovation, is to add beauty in already beautiful painting. And that's what I mean when I ask for unification. I'm just offering you a canvas where you can add your own paints, where you can make strokes the way you like and say, yes, this is my painting too. I painted there. This is our painting and it is beautiful. That's why I'm a painter, That's why I like to paint.